Poland, truly one of the countries of all time. A country full of hard workers, beautiful cities, and above all, some of the best memes to come out of Europe. But a lesser known fact is that Poland is ranked 26th in the video game production hitters, with big names like CD Projekt Red, creators of both The Witcher and Cyberpunk 2077, and Techland with their Dead Island series. And today, we have yet again another Polish studio, Mechanistry, creators of Timberborn, a very well received little early access indie game that now has its 6th major content update live. A small passion project of a game that grew into a healthy community of dedicated players. And while I could describe what the game is, why don't I let Michal from Mechanistry themselves explain what this game is.
My name is Michal, I'm the communication manager for Timberborn, and Timberborn is a city building game full of beavers that use water physics, terraforming, vertical architecture to turn the earth green again, while also battling the disasters striking their settlements, such as the droughts and the waves of toxic waste that humanity left behind.
Hi there, I'm Lunar, and welcome to Scratching the Surface, a series where we not only review games and give you an honest opinion, but we also invite the teams and developers themselves behind the game a chance to speak. So, if that's something that you're interested in, be sure to give me a little sub and a like. Now then, let us continue with today's subject, Timberborn. If you've ever played a city builder like this, you're already familiar with the basics. You need to extract resources from the local environment to build up and maintain your society, increasing your population so you can keep on top of food, water and building production. But where Timberborn throws a wrench into the classic formula is the addition of water-based mechanics. When water flows throughout your land, it turns the soil it touches around it into fertile green grassland. Problem is, that water is not a guarantee. On normal settings, droughts will occur, where these water generation blocks you see here will shut off and the water line will slowly recede. Not a major problem at first, but then you realize that everything in this game needs that water. Your pops needed to drink, to get their fur wet as well. No, I'm not kidding, they need to get their fur wet. Plants and trees needed to survive, and will die if left too long without it. But luckily, you're playing a Beaver game, remember? And if you're like me and spend a little bit too much time on the beach trying to create a perfect waterway, this will scratch your very specific autistic itch, as you need to build dams to cut off, slow down, or even control the flow of water, making sure that you have enough to survive droughts, but also that you can still create some flow in order for important production facilities to remain functioning. Timberborn also features two different playstyles. Folktales, the basic faction of long-teethed mutants, are the classic human-like experience. Expert farmers, which have a few unique buildings like the beehive, which ensures that these little creatures will always have something else than logs to chew on. And then the other faction, the Iron Teeth. And no, that's not a Warhammer faction. This faction grows their children in breeding pods because, hey, you're already making Beavers sentient, might as well make him a little scary as well. This faction is all in for production, making the most use out of endgame bots and having actual engines that don't require wind or water energy to produce. Okay, but before we go on, I do gotta ask, maybe the main question I have personally is, why beavers?
How many games with beavers as protagonists do you know?
Well, modern games, you have Against the Storm, which has like beaver-esque, but not beaver-focused. So, 1.5?
We absolutely adore beavers. They are the second species after humans in the world in terms of how they can change the landscape. No species other than humans and beavers changes the landscape as much. And because we knew that we wanted to create a city building game that had the water mechanics, the water physics, the irrigation stuff, and we knew that we wanted to have a unique protagonist in the game, beavers were like a perfect match. As a little bit of trivia, at some point we actually considered going with post-apocalyptic platypuses. I'm personally very glad that we went with the beavers. I guess with the other animal the game would be something much different. But the beavers are just a perfect combination of cuteness, hardworking, this meme-inspiring chunkiness. They're just perfect. The perfect animal.
And alright, a Polish game about beavers. let's just get it out of the way. Yeah, I just hear that one meme of Bobber in my head right now. When
Bobr kurwa!
I'm not going to quote this because it's full of swearing in Polish, but everybody knows that, and for some reason it went viral in so many weird ways.
And before you ask, yes, they chop wood with their little teeth, and yes, they have a giant grindstone so they can resharpen those little teeth. But droughts aren't your only obstacle. See, the humans who came before you left some bad water, otherwise known to the bobbers as bad water. This water is full with contaminants and glows a dark red to signalize that it's not a good idea to drink. Bobbers that come too close into contact with it will become sick and eventually die. Now, on most maps, these are usually confined to their own little rivers, occasionally mixing with clean waters on some maps, so you got a challenge of separating them out. But as with the droughts happening, so does the occasional bad water tide happen, where once clean water sources turn into the deadly polluted bad water. And it's up to you to make sure that your population is safe, as the water is both your salvation, but also your death. It behooves you to make sure that you have both a main dam and a reservoir, but also a spillway so you can empty that reservoir in a pinch, as floods disable buildings as well. But with the newest major update, there's a lot of changes under the hood and above the hood that we should discuss. In Update 6 there are now wonders, faction-unique buildings that either spew forth a huge amount of seeds in the air to help re-greenify the earth, or for the Iron Tooth, a building that literally straps a beaver to a rocket and shoots him somewhere else to, quote, repopulate the earth. They added detailing to beaver tails, overhang to build buildings upon, and a lot more. But for me, the best change was the official change to fully rendered 3D water. See, before this, they used a clever use of 2.5D rendering techniques in order to achieve the effect of water flowing, which had some visual bugs and issues. Now the team has made the switch to 3D rendered actual fluidity.
Before we added 3D water physics in October 2024, we had bad water that we added in January 2024, and that was basically the beginning of the process. To make sure that bad water and regular water mix, we also had to make changes to our water physics system. That was laying groundwork for what we achieved with update 6. And in terms of development for bad water, it took our programmers several months of 2023 to get bad water to work. And to make the water physics fully 3D, we needed our programmers to work basically non-stop for nearly a year. We have several programmers on the team, and it was really complex work. There were several times when we thought it just can't be done. We were afraid that when we released this, it will basically kill the performance of the game for many people. I'm honest, there were times where I was thinking it's not going to work. We were seeing how our internal progress was halted a few times. And I'm not a programmer, I'm just a marketing guy. But I was reading all the discussions, and with as little as I understand of that, it sounded like not going to work. But we have amazing programmers and it worked. So I'm happy that you liked it, and I'm really happy that our players like it. I don't think at any time before we have heard so many people say something like, oh, this game is now ready for 1.0. The 3D water physics is something that I wanted. That was the crucial missing part of the game.
And this just goes to show the absolute dedication these devs put into their work. And passion is seen throughout this entire game. Beavers wear little cute hats when they go out to farm, builders carry little hammers, haulers actually haul things. It's small attention to details like this that makes you want to care for these little bobbers. And with modding support, this game is set to be something very different. And the music, well, hopefully you've been listening to this, as editing me will likely put this under the talking me. But in 2022, the Timberborn team, together with their community, made this amazing shanty called The Shores of Beaver Bay. Just give it a listen.
Good morning, little beavers. Good morning, happy life. Let's build a big and mighty dam before a drought arrives. With plenty trees for shopping, we'll block the water's way. In the riverbank, keeping this land when living here in Beaver Bay.
My god, that makes me just want to chow down on some wood and build an actual dam. This game is as good as it gets because it's in the hands of these talented and passionate team of developers and artists and others. But let's take a look at their journey to this point. It's no secret that the game borrows some aspects from older city builders, with them mentioning specifically Caesar and Pharaoh, but also just not really city builders like Factorio and RimWorld.
We wanted to create a game that would be a unique spin on the genre. As you said, the water physics is a big part of that. But basically, the usage of water, irrigating the land, but also the unique fairy protagonists that we have are the things that Timberborn is instantly recognized for.
Having kicked off development for Timberborn in 2018, the founders of the studio that would become Mechanistry made some prototypes for different games, including an MMO, by the way, which, can I just say, I want to play an MMO where I am a beaver and it's set in the Timberborn world. Could you just imagine just chowing down entire wood and then getting XP and shit? But eventually they get into the city building route.
So the first prototype, I believe, had the basic farming and city building mechanics in place, but also the first sign of things to come. So the water wheels that were submerged in water and transferred the power using the modular shafts to the workshops. So this was the basis of the game that was included in the friends and family alpha version of the game that I believe was distributed through Discord. I believe in October 2019 we took the things public by releasing the store page on Steam, and that's also when the closed beta began, and that continued in 2020 as the game was being developed. With the pillars of the gameplay continued to shape.
But of course, that early access went over very, very well, with the game garnering millions of views on YouTube across multiple channels, myself included, and to this day still getting tens of thousands of reoccurring players every day. I regularly streamed Timberborn actually when I started out streaming on twitch.tv/CygnusMC, wink wink. But how was that experience of clicking the big green release button?
That's interesting because Timberborn was created entirely remotely. Mechanistry is an all-remote team. Releasing the game into the early access was actually the first time that I met the rest of the team. All 7 of us gathered for a week, which later became a tradition. We now have those week-long meetups for the entire team. For a few days, we were just making sure that all the announcements are ready, that there are no outstanding bugs. And on day 1, September 15, 2021, we all gathered in front of one of the PCs that we had, and our co-CEO hit the green button on Steam. We all were just watching the numbers on SteamDB, seeing how many people are playing, trying to make some educated guesses as to what this means for us. It was clear that the game wasn't a failure, but it wasn't until the weekend that we actually saw what's happening.
So let's get to the conclusion. Timberborn right now costs about 34 euros in my country, which is an alright price for it. Not too expensive for an early access game, but I wouldn't say it's on the cheaper side either. But this studio has proven themselves that they are capable and willing to finish this Beaver game to the end. So it's worth it. My only caution for new players in this would be that if you're looking for a feature-complete game, it's not here just yet. I think the core is done, but the surrounding features are still fluctuating a little bit. As for bugs, in my hundreds of hours, I've only come across a few in the previous updates, with the water seeping through the dam. That's one of them, but that's fixed in update 6. And finally, my only negative of the game is that it's very complex. And this can be a negative or positive depending on your stand for it. Because you can get to a point where if you don't act fast, everyone just drops dead. But if you're up for a challenge, or if you're brave enough to fiddle with the difficulty sliders, this is an amazing project that can still be a great addition to your library, and I don't think you'll regret adding it. But with that being said, I was Lunar, you were awesome, and did anyone mention a lawsuit? Alright, thank you very much for watching another video. This is the second video in the Scratching the Surface series. I'm actually quite fond of this. It's going well. I'm glad that I got the Timberborn team on board for an interview, and if you would like to have the full access to that interview, it will be on the Patreon for just $1 a month. And this is a 30-minute interview, so just $1 gives you 30 minutes of extra content. And if you want early access to these videos, you can always become a YouTube member, where you get access at least a day before the video goes live. So be sure to do that. Both of them give you special access in the Discord. And yeah, I just want to say thank you for supporting me. This is always a bit of a dive, going from Minecraft content to something else. This is the furthest I've gone from survival games so far. So be sure to give this video a little thumbs up if you want me to make more of these. Thanks again to the Timberborn team. Thanks again to all the patrons and YouTube pebbles, and I'll see you next time.
Yes, there is one very important thing that I want the world to know. Beavers do not eat fish. Yeah, that's the most important message of this interview, I guess. No, really. There are many misconceptions about the beavers, and my pet peeve is people saying that the beavers are eating fish, and why are they not fishing in the game?